Hi, how's everything sound? Sounds good? Okay, cool. All right. How's it going, Fane? What's up, Jester? Equinox, Smoke, White Mellow, Roadrunner, how's it going? All right, so right now I am working on a status dashboard for our internal servers. So you can see a little bit of it there on the bottom right. And this essentially is just giving us some information about what servers are online, and some information about them. For example, here on the our patch server, you can see that it says it's ready. You can see all the channels that it has, and some information like the compressed size, which is just in bytes, of all the files on this channel. Uncompressed size, how many files are there, when it was last updated, if it's currently in the process of updating, and it should be showing a channel ID and other various things. Oh, I didn't update the title. Whoops. I'll update the title real quick. One sec. What's today? The 15th. There, we have new titles.
That's cute.
Okay. All right. Grizzly, you're asking if we have an influencer program or with broadcasters on Twitch? No, not yet. All right. First things first. This overall status widget. I want to have a nice name so I know what type it is, rather than the title getting some weird name like this, which this is just one of the other boxes that we have. And it's hard to tell that it is a web API status info. So we're going to accept a type. And how do I want to display this? Probably just put it up in the title. I'll just make a type section for it. A little bit smaller font. Put that just right underneath the title. And we'll just do process type name. Okay, and then when I use it, I have the web API status. It's not going to work because it doesn't have a title. The type name equals web API. Alright, so I need to, in here, that's why. Hey, how's it going, VB7? Sorry, scrolling through chat here. I will not be showing any in-game UI today. It's not what I'm working on. This is TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. So it's kind of just like JavaScript, except that it has types, as well as it's processed and gets essentially compiled or transpiled from TypeScript into JavaScript. Alright, so I think we should be good and it should be building now. Yeah, there we go. It was updating on the wrong, tab. Okay, that was a live tab. So I added that so we can see that this says it's web API and that says it's patch server, and we'll just make that look a little bit better on this widget. I'm not going to answer your troll questions, Sacrix. Maybe I should make that a little bit more visible. Okay. Good free IDEs. Depends what you're going to do. But if you just want to do basic like web development stuff or other things, Visual Studio Code is my favorite. If you want to do, C#, C++ and stuff, Visual Studio Community is free, as long as you're not using it commercially, and it is great. Okay, so now we have types there. Next, I want this timestamp, which this one says 3 hours ago, which means it's probably not online anymore, because it's definitely not online anymore. We just kind of keep a history of the last one that was here. So if the timestamp is above a certain age, the state, we need to basically say like, yo, something's up. This is probably bad. So I will do that here. Well, here, actually, on the status widget main one. I don't know why you'd have to look at the terms of service on their Microsoft page for that. No, this is for our internal use, for the developers to know about things. Alright, so what I have in my, my collapsible list section here, if one of their objects are offline, then I display this warning. Which I'll do the same thing here. So I'll just copy this line out to status widget. Put that there. We got little red squigglies because it doesn't know what warn is. Because that is a div we styled up top. Which is a simple div with color orange and some margins on it. I can just paste that over here. So that now exists. Warnings here, we'll just, for right now, we'll just say warnings equals true. Just so it shows up. It is exciting for me. To have the status dashboards as well as the other devs, because it's important to know the exact status, and we get a lot more details a lot faster about what's going on. A lot of times, if we want to know why a server is not connecting or something's weird, we have to log remote desktop into machines and look at the console logs. This will let us not have to do that. So now you can see at the top here, where it says Hatchery Web API, that little warning symbol. I just added that. And that's just on everything right now because I set it to true. The start of Beta 1 will be under NDA. At some point during Beta 1, we'll remove the NDA. And once that happens, then people can stream and, you know, do all that stuff. So on this data on the widget, I do know that the data has at a minimum, it's an interface. Status data. At a minimum, they're going to have a timestamp string in here. Public string timestamp. What? That's not C. That's the wrong language. Okay. And it's also going to have a server name, as that's guaranteed by the interfaces from where we get this data off the server. So because of that, then I can go here, I can parse out a date. Now equals date. New date. Which I think we can just parse it from timestamp. Pretty sure it should just work. Date. Time. Timestamp.get time. Right, so that gives you the time in ticks and milliseconds between the difference. So let's say if it's outdated by over a minute, right? So do 1,000 milliseconds in a second times 60 in a minute. So if it's over a minute old, I mean, order of operations, it should be, that's just, yeah. All right, so if it's over a minute old, it's out of date. If it's out of date, display a warning. And title equals out of date. So right now, I think the one on the bottom left is the only one that should have this little warning on it. Yep, as you can see, this one on the bottom has the warning because it's out of date. Hover over it. I don't think you see that on the stream, but it says out of date if I hover over it. So that's good. Okay. Last thing I need to do on these ones. Next thing is these don't have a channel ID, and they should have a channel ID that comes down. So I'm going to look real quick at the console, which didn't load. There we go. Got our data from the server status, which says from the patch server. In each channel, an ID field comes down as null. I'm not going to tell you all that stuff here. No. Hey, Zubai. Alright, so this is the data format that comes down for one of these channels. And they have right here, if you can see, it says ID is null. And the ID should be a number of the channel ID. And that's a problem on the GraphQL server for this. Which right here it's has a channel ID, and it's supposed to be resolving it as ulong, not putting it that way. So I'm going to put a breakpoint in here. Let's set this to debug. Alright, and then on the, that's the wrong thing. Over here, I'm going to switch it so that we use the localhost for the API.
Oh, I've forgotten all about that.
My alma mater showed up on the front page of Just Check Your Things yesterday.
Hey, Ben.
Oh, really?
One of the things that came out of the conversation.
Show me, Tim.
One realization, so just us triaging the whole time in the project, everything is that if I say charge market I'm concerned, it's like that's a legit path to take without concern. What? A concern? If I say you're going to put markets on it, no, you have to. Okay.
I believe those are actual.
The one thing that also came out of that, which was a question about
There are Jorts.
combat readiness. Sorry, weapon
The
readiness.
funny part is,
Sorry.
everybody made fun of the school.
That
Their Cyber Ninja cybersecurity program is one of the best.
capability to do certain things.
Like direct align
The
to
compile time is
DSA
great.
and
Right, so
contractors.
Mark had said,
Because
no, it's not a beta one thing, that's fine, but he may not have the information.
totally
So, yours will say,
productive right now.
what is actually blocking, so he doesn't have the information.
So it is blocking things, but it's not blocking data blocking, so it's fine.
If you think it is important.
Errors.
for
What build errors?
I don't.
Okay, that's not a problem.
I think it's something that we want to have in the game if we're not, if we're not going to have it for beta 1, we need to plan for not having it for beta 1 and make changes to facilitate that. If we're not going to have it ever, we need to plan the rest of the game around not having it in order to facilitate that for everything moving forward.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know which.
See you later, Law.
And that's why
Have a good one.
We are, hey, Andrew, the case of ready weapons, it is a thing we are going to do. Nobody's ever said we're not doing it in general,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
And
So that's the answer for
yes,
that.
absolutely, that's not gone, it's a, what are the things we can get done without it, let's show them for beta 1.
Okay.
Yeah, and we just weren't sure if there was something.
Hey, how's it going, Gamer Bucket? I am working on an internal status dashboard,
Ash is also going to.
which will show our servers.
Your priority on tasks.
Right now, this is our web API server. We have
Oh yeah, everything's variable.
2 of them on here, and then the patch server as well. Currently fixing a bug on the GraphQL that's serving this data,
A bunch of things are going to be high.
and
a bunch of things are going to be
it'll
I don't know.
get the channel list in here, and then after that I have build server data to put up here, and then player information. So we have a list of all the players that are online, which will be based on the servers, game servers that are online when I get game server information.
So I also sent her all of the sheets that I sent
So
for the animation and sound and visual effects.
once this
So she
starts
has a
up,
list of all the skill parts we currently have.
Okay. Sorry, I am listening. I got another thing that. is
no,
relevant.
we don't have raid weapons. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. In that meeting, we went through a bunch
There's
of
no raids.
We identified one specific thing for
There's a siege weapon.
that would improve the speed of this, which is literally the next 3 weeks of work. So does that mean that we need to look at who's going to do that? The brushy thing?
Yes. Yes, we do.
It's either going to be Bull or Matt.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Matt because it's mostly a client.
So on the right side, do you just see the chat is ready to display messages? Because it is not working for me.
Okay, does he have space? Do we need to bump something off his list? I saw his picture on a lot of little things.
I think yeah, we can organize things ahead of that.
Okay, that if we're going to move
Do you see
forward
chat
with
messages on
I
Twitch?
don't do actual assignment yet.
Here's the thing, there is a post.
Let me look. I'm gonna look at Twitch. What does Twitch show?
Fast, quality of life.
It just says the chat is ready to display
on the
messages.
back burner because
Yeah.
of you.
What is going on here? Let
I
me
would
find
like
that
to
chat.
fix
Edit that.
an assortment of them before I go heads down on another 3-week thing. This almost certainly falls in the
Ah.
rather than the 3 weeks. We're talking about
Let
making
me fix that guy.
add change mods on a bunch of points at the same time. Whatever it is, I would like to do a bunch of quality of life things that people have been complaining about for 3 weeks, so that it actually looks like we're listening to their feedback.
Embed chat
does
in
that
my
take 2
stream.
weeks?
Copy that.
That stuff
Paste
does not
that
take-
there.
That stuff takes 2 or 3 days.
So can I detailed description of how you want
Okay.
this to work?
No.
And
No.
This should work
because
now.
George specifically said, hey, the easiest way to do this would be this. And
Somebody say
you said it
something.
would be the
There we
easiest
go.
way to do this.
Well, then one of them write down what
Right.
you're talking
It's
about.
not me.
let me rephrase that. In person, the knowledge of the editor and the code involved and the experience desired for this particular feature. Write a detailed description, stick it in a task,
Okay.
give it to Matt, and that's
So
it.
now my local server's up,
Being able to paint.
and let's get data from the local server.
In our conversation,
Here we have
we talked
here
about, it was like, how much
the
would it improve your workflow
Do-
to this?
Oh, no,
How much
no,
would it
no,
improve your
yeah,
workflow
never
to
mind,
this?
never mind.
so when I'm hitting this, I'm not even hitting a
I'm
breakpoint.
sorry, I picked the wrong thing. It was gizmos for placing objects.
Oh, no, the tool handles are something that.
This
That's
GraphQL stuff is coming to CSE build still,
It's handles on placing assets.
because I just edited the environment file and didn't force a rebuild.
Yeah, let's do that.
And it says
So I mean, for me, it's as simple as Maya controls.
patch server status, blah blah blah
Well,
blah
get that
blah.
fast enough. I think that's something that
Doesn't
will
work.
in the very, very near future to help you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yep.
Is any?
Matt, I'm not listening on purpose. What do you want?
That's why those didn't work. Because I defined the interface, which they don't technically meet. But Web API status detail, though, it has server name and timestamp because it's date or null and string or null. Okay, so now we hit this. My source is patch channel status. Gave him the wrong source. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
like
why.
that seems to take
So we get this.
forever. But like having gizmos is like
Patch.
Well, no.
like you've already got
This map specifically is the issue.
Why am I getting that as the source?
yeah, this scenario is gonna have a lot of hand placed directions. Like it's gonna be out to there's three covered on every single one of the points. I can't like pave a path. I have to click on every single thing I want to have a dirt path.
Oh yeah. But that amount of time I'd already kind of like spec'd out as like somebody placing assets and getting them all right. That's
Let's make it a really long name. Alright, so this is not what I wanted to do, but this is coming in as this object. And channel ID. Then I don't have to do that.
the point capture stuff and putting statues and stuff has been placed. I'm honestly not as worried
I
about
just don't think that that's very hard.
Plus 9,000 to all Swazis. What?
Like it's not like as easy as it would be in Maya if you had like the arrow grabbing. Like,
If only it were that simple to just push the button.
set your snap points and you can manipulate things in.
But while that's compiling and starting up, I can actually start on the next thing, the player status stuff. So for Hatchery, you can see this awesome bunch of text right here. This is all the players that are online on Hatchery, just kind of spit out as an array with a bunch of their player entity data. So I'm going to copy that, create a test file, and I will build a
something's going in the pipe.
a dashboard to use that data. So here's all this stuff in test data JSON file, which is a whole bunch and not nicely formatted. So we'll format it. So there we go. So you can see player ID. This is a Viking Earth Mage dummy. Where's one that's actually a player? Somebody actually on Hatchery. So let's just search name.
How do you search? Where is that?
CC Cross Knight. Matt. So CC Matt here. You see his player. We get some information about his player, like his this version means his player has been updated 213 times. Well, this is the 213th version, so it's been updated 212 times since the server since he logged in. Get his character ID. If he's in an order right now, he's not in an order, so he has no order ID. He has no name. He's a human male. T. That's a female because human male T is a race. Forest Stalker. That's his entity ID. tell, you know, his inventory component he's got 59 items in the inventory, that's the weight, you know, various things like that. So we're going to display all this stuff
Figure it out at some point. In the meantime, we're open
on a dashboard so we can see it internally, which is going to be the start of some internal
my whole goal today was to get
tools on tracking what's going to be going on during the beta 1 test.
I'm not even done with it. Mainly because I had to make a bunch of stuff too.
So now that this has started though, let's go just hop right back real quick and refresh this. On the patch server now, you can see that we have patch server and we have channel IDs, and that's what I wanted to fix. Because I need the channel IDs, so we need to know which channel actually is updated. So channel 4 being Hatchery. If you want some information about what's currently on Hatchery, is we have 22,313 files on Hatchery, and our compressed file size of the entire thing is, I have no commas in this, so let's see. It's about 15 gigs ish, maybe 14. I'll have to take that number and do math on it. It's 14.6 gigs. You want to be on my list? There, we'll refresh that. We'll see if we can find Sacrix here. Let's see who wants to be on the list.
Tags are all over the place to do all kinds of things. What do you mean?
There's a Sacrix.
Your refactor broke a bunch of connections. Rob was making a skill detail thing for you.
He's got less stuff in his inventory than Matt did.
If there are bugs, I will fix
And way
them.
less weight.
We couldn't tell if there were bugs because the skill details was working. I'm not aware of anything that isn't working right now, but I'm sure that there probably are some. If we go through all the
Alright.
visual effects on all the skills and find all of the bugs.
Okay, so
Alright, so first I'm going to get something together for this page. Just throw it through the widgets that I made that you can see for that has the patch server here and the web API here. Is basically a widget that just takes in a JSON data and it automatically generates this. So we'll just see what we get the first time through with one of these player objects, and see how it looks, and then do a little bit of formatting changes and stuff to make it look a little bit better and readable. Right, so first things first, let's make all these status dash stuff. Not worrying about being super organized here. Players. So just like I do for the web API status, I'm going to do the same thing for players. So I'm just going to start with that as a base. Copy and pasting it. What I don't have though is an actual data type for it from a GraphQL schema. Get rid of that log. I don't need that log there. But what we're getting this data directly from testdata.json. So I'll do that on the container page where we do all this stuff. Alright, so players. So this player status, I'm not going to worry about any of these things. These are just kind of custom data mapping. We're just going to leave it empty for now, and as well as the status mapping, just get rid of that. On the type, we'll just call it player entity. Right, so that's just bare bones, super basic. Using this status widget, we're passing in just data, which is just going to be anything. We're going to call it player entity. So over here in our status dashboard index, which is currently this page, I'm going to make a new page actually. We'll do that. I'll make a new page. It'll be just completely separate. So let's just copy all of this.
So are you aware of if I want to change the I think I'll get it done before.
Here what we're doing, we may call that one player. Rename that to player. I like one called players that has all the players. Players dashboard. Do a little cleanup on this guy. We'll import that player object, get rid of that, don't need that anymore. Not using GraphQL, and get rid of that, get rid of that.
It was intended that every visual effect had a polymorphic.
I don't even need to worry about this stuff right now.
So if you had like fire as a visual effect, I could say like, I want fire on this guy's feet, or I want fire on this guy's head, and it would just play the right particle version of fire to be played on any bone that I want.
And channel container, status items. Okay, okay.
Specific particle, and I have to specify that it goes on head. So I have to say like fire on head, knowing that Mike has made a fire on head version. If I want a fire on feet version, Mike has to make a different particle.
Get rid of that.
Say that it goes on feet. So when we say that like we just want a buff on a character,
Not gonna do any of this.
He has to tell me, I have to type it into the XML, and then it has to match. So either we need to make everything polymorphic so it can be applied to whatever bone I want to put it on, or we need to stop doing that and have it so Mike can define what bones things go on, because he actually designs things to go on specific bones,
that.
not to go on every bone possible on the character. Right.
Okay. Most easier to just copy and paste and edit than write everything from scratch all the time. Yeah, this is one of the useful tools that Ben will be able to use. So you can understand like what the current status of all the players are. But I'm going to pull in this data. So import test data from test. Where is this thing? Test data.json. Data.json. Which this is player. It's right here.
I type it in, I submit it, I have to push it to Hatchery, Hatchery has to rebuild, and then Mike gets to check it on Hatchery, and then we change it again.
Yeah, so Rob's trying to figure out a path forward on this.
Not that I know of, I thought Rob was working on buildings.
I would just probably have to do that. Okay. So test data. Test data.map. So we're going to take the data and just map it to a player. Equals data.
The problem is he uses them in such a way that it kind of sucks and breaks every time you try to do anything different than the way you set it up. So like, whereas the tags the way that I set them up is assuming that they're going to be matched between skill parts, and so you have one that says like on start, play whatever it is, and then the thing that it plays is from a different
Okay.
element that says fire.
So,
like one thing says when it starts,
this will
the other part says on fire. EV just says play on fire
take
on
all
start.
the
So
items in the
you
array
have some other skill points.
and map them all to a player object, passing the objects. I'm just calling data as the data of the player. Let's see what happens with that. And then what I need to do is also get it on the side page here, which I have a sidebar section here that so I have status dashboard. I just make another nav link here,
Right, I wanted to start it to figure out like what.
and then this is going to be slash players. Class name.
So let me just figure out. Eventually this will.
We'll call that players,
Hopefully.
and then this players dashboard.
Rob good? Rob,
Yeah, I don't think the right solution is just give them single
Get it.
solve the problem technically, because then you would have the capabilities to do it. The problem is that it's
Has he been into
very convoluted the way that it's actually supposed to work, and it's very error.
Where did I do that?
You didn't even have the tag
So let me find this.
and we got into a bunch of problems because of the way we were using so many tags, right?
There we
So
go.
we tried to simplify.
All right, so here we are.
Conceptually, really hard to say that like any part can match with any of the other
This
parts.
will be
and they
players,
all their tags
and then
add up the weights, and
player,
the highest weighted thing is the one we choose. Like, that is
players dashboard,
very difficult
which
thing to
doesn't
work
exist
with.
right now. So I just need to import that in up top here.
Because it's not explicit as you would want to be like, when the guy casts fireball, play the fireball particle.
Players dashboard from status dash slash players dashboard.
You know.
Now that should work.
Oh, that's all I'm looking for. Okay. So, okay, let me ask you a question then. Sounds like the way we are doing things.
So this is gonna give a quick preview of all the players on the server. This is really just pass one for the internal tool so that we can see what all the players are on the server and end goal with this stuff. Once I get all more information into it, and it's good to go. Like this pass one is going to should show a little object for every player. If it didn't just crash like it just did right now. After that, what I'd like to do is also have maps on our internal tools, and then we'll be able to see like little dots on a map where every player is in the game world that just updates live in real time. And then you can click on the dot and then get information about the player. So you can get all the information about their current entity, where they are, what skills they're doing, like as well as historical information, as well as then management stuff with it too. So like one of us can click on one of those players on our dashboard and be like, if we're logged into the game, click a button that says teleport to player, so we can go teleport to them, or or ban them or kick them or whatever. But this has crashed because this.props.data.map is not a function. Okay.
When Rob gets in, we'll do it, and I'll let them run with it for now.
And that was on collapsible list render.
Sorry, Rob didn't tell me what the thing was.
The above error occurred in collapsible list component, collapsible list component status items, blah, 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 blah.
The problem is you have to explicitly specify exactly how many
Okay.
characters you want to play on a
So it looks like, let me look at this data real quick.
whatever we call that, a particle system on it, right? So if you didn't want it to play, like say you only wanted it on the right.
One of these arrays failed. This one right here that is probably empty maybe? No.
Sometimes you don't. That's why it has to be explicit.
Let's add some logging to see where this goes. So right now we get to player. So we'll log. Props.data.
There's stuff available that it could pick. It's going to be wrong.
So let's see if that
but it's
works.
there and it has some of the matching tags, right? So it would be like if you didn't make an overpowering strike for the left arm, it would pick like fire for the left arm because it has like some tagging on it.
Decided that we probably could do something. We did something.
Yeah, I think what would make sense for it is if the particle system could actually say, I want these particles to play on these bones. And the only thing the XML said was play when you get afflicted with this
Okay,
effect.
so first
play
things
fire.
first, we got in here, we got the
Play-
first
play
object,
the fire with the ID of this that's
and
to a
it failed.
larger
Where?
entity, larger object in the particle
So we have
system.
object and
Not just
object and
one
object.
particle effect to play on one bone, but is a set of bones to play a set of particles on.
Well, what is failing in this collapsible list?
Spec for like we have models that we can include and like other things.
This
that are
approps
not
that data
particles.
equals
So it's
no.
actually like a visual effects record as opposed to just a
So one thing,
yeah, it just needs to be a more complicated thing that you're creating where it's like a visual effect as opposed to a particle on a bone. But you need to be able to play that like in your editor too, because like you can only play one particle.
it shouldn't be failing here, but let's see what we get here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it might be getting an object passed to it. So here, the first things, we go to status items. In status items, if type is an array, we get a collapsible list. That's the only way you get a collapsible list.
I'm going to say, hey, Ash, basically mine's full, all this demo stuff.
Like specifically, the reason it's more of a problem for Mike is that visual effects play
Why
on
are these thinking? Yeah, so
are different than sounds because sounds just play on entities.
Right.
So it's not like
So it's
I
kind
get
of
a
working.
sound from your hand. It's a particle on your hand. That's why
you can
particles
see it
are more
over on the bottom, right?
I'm going to let Ash know that, hey, here's
We have all these player entities. They don't have a server name, and these arrays are empty down here. And these ones worked because they're actual normal arrays. What didn't work was my objects. So
which I don't think it is, but if that's the way we're going to do stuff, where it's pre-built skills like that, we could make this whole system like super fast and super streamlined. But if we go back to the individual components that we have to fix and match, that's when
this needs higher powered engineers, higher level engineers on here, sub level one. My suggestion is I'm going to let Ash know
this character component, though,
thing that I was talking about.
pretty sure that character component is an object.
We got to get all the shit working again. And that's a lot.
Let's pull one of these guys out.
what's not working.
So this guy,
Sounds working again.
What is not working with the current set of people? He just said they're all perfect. They are all
to
built.
here.
We have visual effects and sound on actually all this.
Looks to me from looking at them in skill detail, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, see, I don't know what's wrong and what's right. I just know that when I play spells, I see stuff happening. It might be the wrong stuff.
Okay.
I see the right stuff too, but I don't know what the right
Just to have a little bit
is.
less.
Right, I
So this
just see stuff
character
like that.
component, this is not an array. Yet it's being sent to the collapsible list, and it's failing and just returning out null. This character component is an object. So type of, did I like do something really stupid? Let me look here.
Okay, so if something is playing the wrong, there's two possibilities. One is it's playing the thing
Yeah,
that it's-
no
it should
shit.
play according to the rules, and the thing that it's fine,
That was dumb.
it's just the wrong
Okay.
thing because we've set it up wrong. The other thing that's possible is that it's playing or not playing a thing that it should be playing. Because of code being wrong, right? So it's not like,
Yeah,
oh, we just
that
set
makes
our
sense.
tags wrong, and I just need to change the tags, and it'll do that.
Because obviously an array is an object. Okay, so this is bad.
have all the stuff, but it doesn't necessarily. That's fine. Overpowering strike.
So what I should be doing is this. Instead, I should be doing array.isArray of value. Let's do that.
Set it up right into XML, it just doesn't have a variable to go with it. So it's not playing the wrong thing, it just doesn't have a thing set up. Right? Well, because it's playing crush, it doesn't have an overpowering strike. No, we're not doing that hierarchical thing anymore. We're specifically saying
Now that it's built, it crashed again.
now it's all making skill parts. So it's like right hand.
So warning, each child iterator needs to have unique key, blah blah blah. I know, cannot convert undefined or null to object.
All the names of the skill parts.
And that is in status.items.render under.
Attack and slash, and it's not all of that tags anymore because that's where we were having problems. Remember when they had all the various tags? So we ripped out all that hierarchy. Explicit skill names.
It can be confusing. I got slow chat still on. I didn't edit any slow chat stuff. Might be in the. Might be something Max set up on there.
Spend all day inside, go home and take care of my kids.
Right, but like this has been the way we were going to go about doing right? This isn't new to the XML format I just did. All I did was move things around in files. I didn't change those tags. The only thing I added was a bunch of these status effects that were in that other spreadsheet.
So for an object.
I still need some new ones for those two. So all that stuff just needs part of the live skill fund. Okay. So that's not bugs. That's just a lack of bugs.
Yeah, all that red is errors because it is scary because it broke. It's messed up. Something. But my messed up something is better. We have more stuff. So these, it looks like a mess right now. But this character component now has children.
Because it doesn't know what, because right help is the name of the book.
And the data is there. So like gender, male, reference 188, kill 0, order ID, order name. But it's all formatted all wrong. But we're making progress.
It sounds like it's extremely explicit.
I'm going to get rid of some of these console logs that I don't need anymore. That. Clear. Get rid of that.
My point is could somebody help me with this?
So this object thing,
Generate a list ahead of time.
that right now is not working out the way I want it to. Let me look. Oh, it's because I'm setting a max width based on children. That is totally why. Because, so, if you're curious, what I did here was these rows, right? So I have row, and then I have div and a div. And in the styling for this row, I said for the first child, the width is 140. Which means that this, when it's inside of a row, the first child has a width of 140. So I probably don't even want it to be a row. Like, I might want a row variant.
But know the tags that are valuable, like the bones, you've got lists of bone names that you're supposed to be using, like a reference here.
I guess if the first child wasn't a div,
Like those spreadsheets I just should have.
would also do it. If status object container was like, say, a section, which just because just make it a semantic element. And we probably, I don't want the padding of a row as well.
We're not even building skills. But once we get back to building skills, yeah, we'll have all the rest of the things, but you can't test them because you can't get them right now.
As you can see that works now there. It's still an issue for the first div that is a child of the row. So I'll probably get rid of it from being a row. And I want to make it collapsible as well. Where was I? Don't need that one. Don't need that one. Don't need that. Goodbye, you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. So here, I'd probably get rid of this row and just turn this into just a div. It doesn't need any styling. I can actually just get rid of that. But I want to keep it there for the key.
Oh, I thought you said there was one. I said I think there was one. And then I stopped because that's all I know. Okay.
Okay. That looks better. Now it's just like a gigantic blob of data about a player. So gender is male, kills are 0, order ID is just really long, zeros, which means nothing. Archetype, Mjolnir. So let's see. Where's name on these things anyway? Character ID. Oh, one of these guys is Sacrex in here. Here he is. There's the name. Alright. Michelle over there. Sacrex over here. This is a target dummy. My pointers? Yeah. It's a problem if they get backwards, huh? But this is a very large widget just to have a single player. So I'm going to make these sections that you see like the kind of titles form. They're objects. I'm going to make them collapsible right now. And that's based on the status object. This is an internal tool. So this right now shows all the players that were on Hatchery, because it's not live data. I just using test data I copied. That were on Hatchery, well, all the player entities that were on Hatchery as of like 10-20 minutes ago or so. Which, you know, but I say player entities because our fighter dummies are also entities, as you can see here. But you got Crossmire was on there, Matt, Caleb, you got a fighter dummy, Earth Mage dummy, Michelle, Sacrex. And those are all people that were online on Hatchery. To make it super easy to do this stuff, I'm going to copy a lot of the styles I did for the collapsible list here, but like making a thing collapsible is pretty simple. So we have this container here, and if you click on the title, we just want to set like a state that it's collapsed or not, right? So create interface for the state and say collapsed, and it's a Boolean. We'll say that we're using the state called state here, and I'll make a constructor which takes in props, and it's required that we call props, call the constructor of our parent, which is the React component here, passing in the props, and then I'm going to set the state in the constructor so that this.state is what, and collapsed equals true. So it's always collapsed to start, not equals, but collapsed to true. So it's always collapsed to start. And then on the title, Mark and Ben will be using it to help balance gameplay and make sure that gameplay is working right. Gameplay developers will be using it to, the server developers to see, who's online, and eventually, as I was saying a little while earlier, the intent of this kind of stuff is it'll eventually be built into a larger GM tool. So this is basically just giving a dump of all the player entities on a single server. So we'll build this out eventually. We'll get locations, we'll know maps, and we want to build like a map so you can see all where the players are in the world. You can click on them, you can do some actions like, ban them or kick them or teleport to them or whatever. So title, so on click equals this dot toggle collapsed, which is a function that doesn't exist yet. So I'll create that function. Private toggle collapsed equals, and we'll just make an arrow function so it'll bind itself, and we'll set this dot set state and collapsed equals not this dot state dot collapsed. So it's going to toggle it back and forth. And then the status items thing, we'll need to know if we should render it collapsed or not, this section, because as of right now this is just setting a state, we're not actually doing anything with it. So we're going to have to check in here if we're collapsed, we render things differently. But first things first on that, in the title I want to add like a little plus or minus thing, like we did in on these lists. Okay, so like, are you collapsed or not? And that one's pretty simple. Just say here, this dot state collapsed, and if it's collapsed, we're going to render a plus. If not, render a minus. In the model folder. So as you can see here, when I click on it now, you see the plus and minus changes. But it's not exactly what we want here, because we're going to want it to align it properly and stuff. So this title, we want to text align it left. And I'm going to put make a span for collapse indicator. We'll just call it indicator. I'm just going to float that to the left. And then let's also add a margin on the right side of it, and the left and right side of it. About 5 pixels to give it a little bit of spacing. And so instead of just doing this, we'll make it an indicator. And that should give us a little bit of spacing on that as well. Yeah, Fane was asking when do I choose to use React state for versus Redux for state management. And yeah, I agree. And it's pretty much whenever your state is self-contained to its own component. I always like to just use React state. The only time I'll use Redux, and in this application I don't use Redux at all. Like in our game client, we use Redux if we're sharing state across multiple components, and especially it's useful when multiple components are not direct relatives either. But things like this, it's just like a collapsible thing. It's definitely I just use that use an internal state for that. All right, let's make this cursor a pointer so it indicates that you can click it. And then when collapsed, this status items, we want to have it a size of nothing. Which 2 ways I can do it. I can just like render nothing, or I can render it and just have it hidden. Is hatch rate down at the moment? Well, good thing I have a status dashboard I can look. Hatchery Web API says it's online, but this one is not. But Hatchery Web API is working. You're getting localhost, okay. So here, what I can do is just say, if I don't want to just, I don't want to render the status items at all, so I don't need to render them if this is collapsed. I can just say this.state.collapsed will just render null. Otherwise, we're going to return the status items. Okay, great. Here we go. Alright, so now you can see here that I now see 6 players on this one bit of screen. And these components, when I click it, character component, it shows up the data. So it's nice and simple, collapsible thing. What is weird, however, did you notice that some of these are changing place? Oh yeah, they are, because they're getting bumped up. That's a bit annoying, but that's fine. I'll change it to go row order rather than vertical. And that way these don't change this and the order this way. They'll just get pushed over that way. Let me change that real quick. that it would be on player dashboard. The channel container. Display flex direction row. I think that should do it. Maybe it's status items that need to do that. Yeah, probably that. It's because I'm doing columns, that's why. Wait. Hey Luke, glad you enjoy it. The game to be optimized to run full screen properly for Beta 1. That's not a question for me. Andrew or George would know whether or not what our plans are for full screen support for Beta 1. I don't know. So they all fit, except they're all getting squished. I need here for each of these items, right? It's one of these players. Yeah, I didn't even need that. I just need the wrap works. Except that does that. We'll worry about that later. Say, make this smaller. Okay. That was right. All right. Hey Bearchug, right now this is using static data that I'll be setting up soon to be able to just select whatever server. So we'll be able to see any server, like every server essentially is what it's going to get, like every player across every server. I think this is good for right now. That is a really fat scroll bar. You know what I should do is wrap that text in these sections. So status items, when I have text that extends, what do we want to do? Just wrap, I forget what it's called. So we have the Googles, text overflow. Is text overflow is I don't want clip, I just want it to wrap. I think I just need to do regular overflow on this one.
Anything interesting going on with testing?
Did you see the stuff I dropped into Foresight?
Yes, it was something about Caleb being blocked, and it sounded like maybe someone was going to follow.
What I don't want is this to overflow that way.
I have a potential fix for the zombie hunter going on the London prep.
So
From happening or stop the process from crashing, but hopefully it will allow them to log back in once it's happened.
Okay. I would just, if you haven't poked Mark in 2 hours, I would just say, hey, this thing.
I sent an email.
Okay.
30 minutes, an hour ago.
Okay.
it's probably under status objects, status items. Yeah, why did I do that? That's not even. I didn't even make a proper object for. So, content equals style div. Overflow X again. Can I make it force it to wrap text? Visible hidden scroll auto. Yeah, no. This wrapping text thing. Take that guy. You go here. And here.
Hi there. So I'm in charge of adding work for the next sprint for the artist. The sprint is 3 weeks. We're going to start next week. From an engineering perspective, we're going to 7 days of work for our artists to work on that 12. And assuming just, fixes and polishers, something at the end. What I was getting filled in with Ben and Mike.
His element explodes. I actually will be putting this stuff over GraphQL using WebSockets. I have subscriptions set up on our server for GraphQL, which is kind of in a experimental basis right now. And so I'm making sure that that works, and then we'll be able to update all this data in real time, and they'll get notifications if stuff changes. And I could make it explode, but I'm not going to make it explode. But so this hides it. What I wanted was this line to just break and wrap. I don't think I can do that. Forget AJ. Do you remember how to make a line of text break and wrap?
Or white space wrap.
White space. But there's no white space. Because this is all one big word. Like it's all stuck to. Oh, there is white space. Let me see. So that's white space. So let me look
what
here.
we're trying to do is actually get it into a focus. This is we're going to deliver in 3 weeks and get out of the
White space. Okay.
randomizing people. So what I want to do is get more shit in there, and we'll be able to drop stuff.
Yeah, there we go. White space. Let's try pre-wrap, pre-line. Normal. See which is a white space or collapse new line characters that are handled the same as other white space. Lines are broken, no wrap.
So where are you?
Collapses white space as for normal, which suppresses line breaks. This one, word wrap. That's what I want. That's, I think.
The goal of originally for the characters was animation, sound, and effects. Visually, you can see something, auditorily, you can hear something. We've always assumed that later past, okay, well, Black Book is sound certain, it's sonorous, it sounds like, moaning wolves at night, right? There's a whole other like class-specific kind of breakdown that I want to get into each classes and figure out like how much time all that type of work takes.
I'm not sure if that's going to go as what I want either.
Stone Healer sound forever. That being said, what I need from you is the estimate of getting things back the way they were, checking the hookups.
I think if I use flex and actually have a size to the box, that can work. Which I would have to do here. So I have a row, right? So we have this div and this div. And so if I do display, flex direction, row. And then divs just do flex 1 auto, and first child is going to be flex 0 0 auto. And it's actually
I mean, granted, these aren't running a sprint. We're just.
it's going to be 40 pixels.
Okay, so you and Mike.
Yep. Thanks, Fane. I just noticed you said that right as I was typing this stuff, like right after. Stream delay though, probably didn't notice. We had the same thought about the same exact time. Alright. Hey look, it wraps now. That's what we wanted it to do. Except this one's not. No!
I posed the same question. All I end up with that list of things, and still probably I need to audit it. That's why we're having the chat.
See, it's not. Problem is these really long words. Like, can't break in a word.
Right, because now it's different.
So it's that is that. So crafting history is a component.
Right. No, I know that you're like this. It should sound like a puzzle, not a sword. So, okay, what I need you to do is use this skill detail and look at it because as I understand it, that part
I have to break things up by periods.
So it should be different than
What is using content instead of row?
The other thing that's sitting on the pile cabinet to be played is there's 27 new status effects that need seconds.
Oh, this? Yeah, this doesn't really matter anymore. This content is the whole main section. It's like this whole thing. You know, that's inside here, and but it's not gonna like break a word.
Okay, and it sounds like, I think there's probably
Yeah, let's try that in here. So that div, right? So that's the CSS for it. So this div, we'd want word wrap break word, which didn't do anything.
on my hard drive where it's actually usable.
Display inline block, flex 1-1 auto.
Yeah, this would be like, you know, Bonfire or Toys and
Okay, so we need overflow hidden and break word. So we'll do that real quick. So on here, we're gonna need, well, overflow wrap. And word wrap. Break word. Okay, so here we go. Let's look. That one breaks the word. Let's look at one of the ones that had like a lot of stuff in these components. Yes, there we go. So that breaks, and that works. The important thing is just getting all the information here. It doesn't have to be pretty. So that's fine. I'm using Visual Studio Code, which is awesome. I love it. Right, so that works on these player things. They don't really have a title. I should find a way to get their name to the title. Name is under character component. No, it's under entity component, character component, components. Right, so it's under entity component. So name is, let's see, player. So status widget.
So I'm going to poke Mark and say, look, right now both TV and Mike are saying
let's give it a title field, and we'll use that instead of this server name here. To title case, title. So just put title there. Props. Title. Which is going to break our other server status stuff a little bit, but we'll fix that real quick. So instead of that, so now in the players dash player, it's going to say, oh, hey, you're broken. So we want title. Oh, title equals. We'll do this dot props dot data dot. Let's look at how this data actually is. Test data. Entity component. So it's gonna be entity component dot name.
Yeah.
Entity com dot name. So that's there. And then we've got a status, also use a status widget, and now it's complaining because it wants a title, this.props.data.server name. And we also need patch server status. It's the same thing. Yes, there is a is CSC and is admin flag. Because if you're CSC, you're not always an admin. We turn it on or off as we need to. And this is not Visual Basic. This is TypeScript. But now you can see that people's names are in the title.
Well, no,
And so that's nice. Makes it easy to find people. UI series report.
define this as the Black Knight is going to be turned into a storage machine. This is basically controlling everything down to scope. Just
All right, and so I'm gonna put this player stuff on hold real quick and go back to the status dash stuff that you see over here, which we have another interesting web API server. I think someone's, this is another EC2, another Amazon instance that doesn't have a name properly set up for it. That's starting up, and then somebody is running a patch server locally as well, it looks like. Our patch server name has been, server name has been changed. Okay, so what I want to do here now is get our build server up. Did IDs change from lots of random to which one? Hang on. Talking about on players? But these guys? Those are just how our entity IDs are? Oh, those are different types of IDs. So some IDs, like the first ones you mentioned there, that's going to be like our character ID. The entity IDs are handled differently than the character IDs. The entity IDs are kind of, I think they're set up that way so they're better to encode over our network. I think that's why they're set up that way. Alright, so over here we got a couple servers up. I'm going to set up our build server status from scratch now. So over here we have, oops, build server. So build server status has a bunch of information. It should be available now. Let me go open up our GraphQL for my local host here. I don't know if you can see it. You can see that there. Okay. here on GraphQL, you can see we got the web API, the patch server stuff. Notice build server is not present. So you can see is web API and patch server. So I need to start serving that and handling that on the Web Tools internal server here. And that happens in status reports. And here you see I just have a list of Web API status details and a list of patch server status details. Do the same thing here, and this is going to be build server, and this is going to be build server status detail. So we're going to have a list of those. Down here, this is all handling our status messages and the receiving of them and the putting them into a single list based on the type. But here in the resolver, I will filter them out by type and just kind of block them into into the response. Oops. What did I do? Alright, hit Control Z. Alright, so here this is going to be instead a list of build server status details. Build server reports. Build server status. Okay, so we have that build server reports. Now I'll just put it here. Build server equals build server reports. Yeah, just a little bit of hookup because we'll put together that status reporting on the build server, and so my server here is just properly receiving it and passing it to GraphQL. So now that that's done, I can start this back up, and then I should have it available on the GraphQL.
You're on camel launch, right?
That might also be there because of what?
Camel launch? And then right above that should be a
Does take a little bit to start up here, so I will be right back while it starts up. So I'm going to go to the BRB and I'll be right back. Okay, hey, I'm back. And our server is up. Good to go. Testing this. Alright, so now here I should have build server. Yep. Build server has server name, timestamp, state, ID, is building, build start, and build finished. And this should give us status of the build server, which currently it doesn't look to be reporting anything. I'm not sure if we updated the build server. Can I just bowl that real quick? If he actually updated the build server after this change. As our build server, unlike most of our servers and stuff, does not automatically update itself, because that could be a problem if it does. But so it's not reporting anything, so I'm not going to be able to actually see anything for it. But what I can do is I can get it set up. And just copying this query here. So I'm doing the whole query on the status widget, or is it status dashboard? Which is index. So here we go, we have the query, paste that in here. Yo.
Looks like on the present server status state, it's trying to serialize like a bounds, which is causing Newtonsoft JSON to crash.
Oh, okay. I'll look
So
at
it's
that
on
in a
the
minute.
server state.
Yeah, I thought, okay. I thought that it already ran and didn't break.
The present server, I don't think had been rebooted in quite a while.
Oh, okay. Alright, I'll fix that. Okay. Alright, so now we have build server stuff here. However, the build server is not going to exist. I gotta clear out build scripts. So I'll need to re-download our GraphQL stuff.
Why don't you, as you're working on this, so in your head, does this include stone quarters? Okay. So you don't have a separate stone building task other than all of this? Well, because what I want to do is make sure that I'm not, then we should put that.
I gotta fix something real quick elsewhere.
Put some details here that this also includes do stone buildings. Because right now you're basically at the max, assuming that that's worst case scenario.
Yeah, I'm guessing it is this breaking Wormling prep.
Wormling prep is fine, restricted hatchery and fledgling prep.
Yeah, fledgling prep and hatchery. Yeah, so I gotta fix that real quick. Let me
Then what we should do is we should identify the time and subtract that time from it. Because, yeah, I don't really like having capacity training, so work on this. Oh, this is not going to take 30 minutes.
fix master real quick.
You have to type C. Okay, so like I said, take well, actually,
Yep, Bull got back to me. We didn't update the build server, so that's why it doesn't have any status. But, so in the meantime, I can fix this other thing while we wait on build server, so we can to be updated, so that
okay, so you're looking at it, right?
we can get the status. I can get the status for it.
So the idea
Come on,
is,
load
this
solution.
is 1 week of work. It is in progress, and I have spent 8 hours today. You go up into 3 dots in the corner, and log work mechanics ask you how much you want. Just got that today. The goal here is to figure out who's best at estimating. Don't want to figure out is who's the worst at. Oh, you thought it was tracking in the background. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, because I see your list.
Yeah, so
I'm complaining about everything from one. I can give you that.
Read the error I got from Tim. I'm not using a Vec2F. Just request listener, send a message.
No, you need to change the estimate to 2 weeks. Because the estimate of work you get is still you less than 2 weeks.
There's no way that something like voting would get used by the
There's no Vec2F.
studio. That's
No,
like.
the estimate changes, and then what I
Well, I mean, just like the little, like,
so
a motion that has been put on the bottom of a Discord post have never, ever.
1061 should have no 1061 should just be 2 tasks.
Hey, Matt. Seriously. For real, you come, from your big capital list. You come eyeball this and see if
So we have Vec2F with lowercase and Vec2F with capitals. It's so much fun. So we want that one.
It shouldn't take very long.
Which this is a C++ version from Managed Math. So we shouldn't even be serializing this at all. Get presence detail.
Turns out, 4H does not love double.
No, it's just not. That's not being worked out. So, okay. For particularly, and we don't give a shit. And now I'm just saying, evaluate this.
I swear I had a version of it that did this at one point. I'll probably need it back for some reason. But
Well, because if not, I have to change.
yeah, I know it's a pain. You
Well-
can't change the event conditional on it. But basically, at the end of the day, so the rule of thumb is what still mode to do is modify the event, right? And then bring the event does something. However, what we're basically saying here is that just like SM code list, SM conditional itself doesn't do it. Just shows which of its child nodes do something. So I think
Could be the server presence.
makes sense for either or not using
Server presence.
I'm not sure if this gets.
You have a range 2F.
I doubt it gets used by anyone.
But it like, maybe,
Totally certain that they like I said, I swear I did this change at one point. Like if you go to history, look at the history of that file.
So zone bounds. Okay. Right. So that it's a range 2F, which is giving it a serializing it. So what we need to do is change this to a range 2 lowercase f, which doesn't exist. Let's see real quick. Hey, how's it going, Zadred?
Which was a list. And I was trying this and you're like, what I put in here, we always do
Right.
this. Yeah, what I did wrong.
That one was created this way. Subject is not,
I'm gonna fix this. What I'm asking is,
that
So it's not the way this is laid out.
that is this wrong now. It's blocked this. That
No, I mean, I get what you're saying.
I guess I can make a range 2F in C#. I really don't want to. Zone border. Zone border is zone border segments, and what does that use? It uses vec2fs. That'll also be problems. That's what happens when I just throw data out there. It's like, yeah, it should work.
you've done some of that already.
Unless there was something special with the sort of set or it had to be.
Some write custom serializers for these.
when you got into SM conditional that, like you did that, is not subject to context.
It would always be more
Okay. No problem, I'll let you go then. What I'll do is I'll fix this.
Yeah, I
So that once
was,
it's 2 weeks,
that
once
was
it's
the
1 week.
thing that when I swear I was back.
Okay, but
Yeah, that's fucking weird. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
So,
Well, this isn't even a subject. This is a multiple sort of set of strings.
right, no, I know. But like the fact that that's how you look up subject groups and type,
Yeah.
it's all like, you can kill this field now.
Well, yeah, that I have a big capacity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't keep that stuff. And I
Yeah,
thought
no, that seems
weird.
reasonable.
So then the other thing
And then, yeah,
was,
theoretically, easy conditional for all that.
so I had to make this work. Or by conditional.
I'm not sure that's why I did that, but yeah.
So I had to run it twice.
Should probably just do a serializer for these things.
I would like at some point for you to tell me what you did.
So if I make a JSON converter,
Yeah, I think I
This is the right thing. With that,
That's fine.
a lot.
Yeah.
I did not expect you to make it
do 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 do.
I did this because this, and I did this because that. Because I
Like how I did this.
Yeah.
How I like tried to fix it.
Yes. I did not expect.
So
Well,
I'm more curious about it.
just as an example that I've done before in my group ID converter, just copy that guy, right? And what I would want to do
That's why I was getting that this would be.
is just make it in CSC tools. Does that have JSON.NET referenced?
I don't know.
shadows are cut.
This thing has as many.
No, that's
Microsoft.json. Okay. So in CSC utils,
Yeah, and they would be essentially well-defined triggers that we.
Yeah, like, cause like the only way I can do anything over here is by like taking that off. So I just like.
folder,
That's what I was.
JSON converters.
But like, yeah, like most of this is just like trying to smooth it out so you
This
can
is
walk,
exactly what I
right?
would
Like,
expect.
just because it gets.
Oh, you haven't done any time on game.
So then I have to just.
Can go here, can go
Range 2F JSON
Yeah, well that's good, right?
converter.
I moved the spawn points.
We call it JSON converter.
Yeah, sure.
This item,
And and I equaled all these out, right? Where it's like this one's on this point here.
Yeah, awful. It looks like you kind of get
Right,
it.
so that
And then it's on this point here.
import new soft JSON.
Yeah, like so you can tell where the edges map.
Clean up a little bit. Alright, so can convert if type of
I didn't want to block it all, but yeah.
range to F
So I want to go through.
is assignable from blah. Read JSON blah 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 blah. If it's a string,
It's supposed to be organic, right?
Is that more an art decision or a design?
object, start object.
Well, so if it was, I would
The
do
problem is like this is gonna be an object, right?
that I'm manipulating height map instead of like putting building over blocks or something is because like I'm making this to be a more organic zone. So if I wasn't doing this and we were making something that was like for the ruins of a city or something, I would put like destroyed buildings.
Now, remember, you do have that 1 meter thing if you want to do this block.
I'm totally gonna do that.
Because I told Ash I assumed it was part of this past and I told him don't really things that we're gonna place just in place that's then to figure out what size.
Yeah, like, so there will be players running across this. Right? Like,
What is create an object? I need to use the Googles.
I'll actually go through and like,
Well, that's fine.
Create JSON object.
No. Why don't you let me worry about that? I did the whole thing.
I gave one when I initially that like I didn't do it.
Well, my thinking is, you said where the road would be.
Well, I did. The road will now be like where the hypermap is smooth, right? Like it. Like the road had a very general path, but like there's a point here, right? There's a capture point here, there's a capture point here, whereas the road is straight. Now it's like, well, it has to go around.
I guess I could just convert it into a string value.
Do a pre-existing mod. It's very simple. You know, that's just like on dirt or something.
Yeah, it'll be just like this.
Hold on.
I mean, that makes it easier.
And what I can do is then go in later, change the mod to actually look like, you know, paved or not paved, you know, tiles and dirt and stuff that are going to be mixed in.
Just parse the string.
We can make art.
Yeah, no, I'll have to make one, but it will be very.
No, what I'm saying is there are plenty of mods in there that start with terrain that are a mix of two things. If you pick one of those, it's not usually a bad idea to swap them out and say, okay, this is cobblestone dirt, and mix like those parameters that actually make it come out like cobblestone.
Hey, Kimmy. These coding conventions are primarily CSE. Though, you know.
Remember how I made like a road thing using bits of grass and tough bricks and stuff? The very first pass, right?
Oh, the very first.
Yeah. But I'd like to, you know, use some nice new water.
Okay.
So yeah, just do something and then I'll just follow that. And like I said, for any walkers, go ahead and put some volumes in.
This range 2F thing.
Try and pick, you know,
Ah,
5 starting sizes. I can probably 5 different shapes of things that are
it's an X0, X1, Y0, Y1. So I could just treat it as like just a comma separated values.
Well, three-dimensional, right? So it's like that's
Sigma to noise ratio. Well, what I'm saying is, once you've made a few shapes, that one's single side, clear water that. Every single one you need. The more things you make, the more art the more one you make.
yeah, but remember, I think you're gonna have to like anyway. Yeah.
Right, but I don't.
So if I like at one point I'm gonna place 5 of the same size.
So it's going to be
I'm not gonna go to another point.
values
I don't know. It doesn't
equal,
even if I make something the same size, I want it to
call this value string, values is value string dot split. Let's just separate it by commas.
Yeah, and if we add in a whole bunch of
And then
unique assets, then I don't
so
know.
we're gonna do
It's all gonna get done by the next sprint. What I said to Ash was, if this sprint is only 3 weeks, we're only gonna get to the point on this map where it's like phase 1 of everything. There's more to do, like logs of things, collision of things, making the gameplay walkers, testing it, to get the sprint finish sooner than to, you know, get people in and testing it.
Sub-Zero.
Okay, just be careful, that's all I'm saying. You and I haven't even scoped out, like, okay, this one, this one, what do we?
But you knew that we were gonna have to do that.
Right, but I don't know how many different assets we're gonna have to create.
So it'll just comma separate that.
How many locations look different, right? So I don't know.
And for write JSON, we'll do it the other way. So it's going to be arranged to F.
But at least one. This is a bunch of.
And I want to turn it to a string. So I'm going to do.
Oh, there's this, 5 different statutes.
It's going to be.
This one is, it's got to be not the whole thing.
Yeah, and
We'll find about
X0, comma. Oops.
the first print.
Y1,
yeah,
Y0, and X1. I'm just comma separating it. I guess that works for JSON. I think that's for this type. And then I'll probably do the same thing for
we'll just see what it turns out as. But like, I will try to block out all these points.
There's some fun things we can do. We have that hand that kind of fits the decision. So
how many scripters do we have? You mean programmers that we have?
That fits, but like we could do something to scale it up really big and set the point right in the middle.
I think like 12.
Yeah, I mean, if
You're making faces. I don't know. Do you not like that idea?
well, when you start saying like scale something up real big, like if we're gonna put the time into it, then yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
no. I mean, it's already a big ass.
Maybe 13?
It's already meant to be a big. It's not this. It's not the hand size hand.
Well,
It's a big. If you type in hand, you'll probably find.
Let's try this. Back to F.
Thing that something I can just place in the forest or something. That you can pretty good fun.
Is there a bunch of things like that?
There are not a bunch of things, but when it comes to creating them fairly quickly, I'm not too afraid of that.
Oh, well,
Like
that's
if
what I want.
can give these to, what I'm afraid of is like lots of little cropping and stuff until we get that tool to get those placement, all those little details, all that like this big rock goes here, this little rock goes here, this goes here, the fine tuning there to inside of it. Placing a couple of things that you oh, there's the 2 line statues. Oh, but here's the little rubble around it, here's the fur. That gets tedious.
Yeah, I guess.
These ones.
But yeah, what I may end up doing is once we get to that point is give John a chance to work. This area over here has a red skull.
Can I just do.
Oh, this one's got a little hut.
Yeah, I'll try and see what I can do with that.
The goal would be to come up with some things that we can use based off of the assets we've got in your statue where you're on really quick thing. We can pick up 3 minor points of the
Probably do an object.
Well, you want it to be identifiable by players, basically. So if they're like, oh, that one's a mine, go to the mine, defend the mine,
Right.
whatever it is. But if it's like, go to the Arthurian bucket
No,
statue,
no, I-
go to Atha bucket statue.
No, ideally it's, the giant dragon skull and dragon bones are around that point, and over on that one there's a big hand, and over that one it's the church looking thing.
Yeah, that's
Alright, so
yeah.
Your point beats.
I'll actually try this real quick with this one.
Yeah, it should be different enough that people can.
So even if it's like.
Alright, so if I do this, instead of doing it a
There are
weird
5
hacky way,
statues of guys holding swords in a circle, and that one's got
so I do writer,
dragon
right, start,
but they're both technically
object, writer dot,
you guys are fast enough on creation that you can probably put that on.
right, property name,
Yeah, I imagine
X0.
anything that we're going to create for this is going to be something that we're going to create.
Right.
Well, what I'd like to do is
So
like,
I don't think of any of it as like one
Value.
throwaway.
yeah, my version of it has always been like, I like coming across random things in the like, oh, there's an inscription on this tombstone, or oh, I found a little area that's just a graveyard, or there's a broken wagon and a bunch of shit. Oh, it's a statue. And you brought up a very good point that like you got to be careful of those things because they would use them as like markers for go to as a meeting place or to find their way through the world. Yeah, and my version of it was, oh, we'll scatter 10 different broken wagons all over the place. Well, if they end up being markers, people are going to get lost.
Yeah. Maybe at the tree.
Right. So that was your point with the big tree of like the big mod.
Yeah.
Doing, like,
Does that
make
work?
one big fucking tree, and that's the only big fucking tree, or there's 2 of them and they're very themed differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Well,
And so that's for control points.
that type of thinking. So what Ash was saying there was, I'm art is a big scary black hole to me right now because I just don't know what needs to be done. It's like all of that information's in my head, and I were just talking about some of that shit. I'm going to, once I get everybody past the sprint, I'm going to just get big lists of
Okay.
animation.
And so here,
And I'll share those with you, but that's the point, is so that you can go, okay, I see the state of things, and we'll work.
And like, one thing we've talked about very, very, very little is like the metagame of people just logging into an open world game and having stuff to do.
Yeah.
So there will be plots and people building things on plots and like trying destroying castles and stuff. There will also be people just like roaming around the world, and there needs to be reasons for them to do that. Otherwise, they just won't, and it will just be like one big fight around a keep all the time.
Yeah, one thing I just thought of was when I said the design thing of like why you put things into the golden mean of deciduous Go-One forest, like those concepts and put those assets together so that you have a bucket to build from. And so you can see cover everybody's one-on-one concerns. So
Yeah, like if you already had the little path mod, I would already use that.
exactly, and that's why I was saying, well, ultimately I'm going to make like a Deadlands kind of mod, like you can reuse these pieces like it's dirt and dust and stuff, and then it goes into green. But the obviously the rule involves, barrens or something.
Yeah,
that you would
whatever
know
that.
to pull from. The thing that I was mentally adding to my list of things that need to be created when you say, I'm going to create a biome, is markers, unique markers that can be placed. So once we build an island, and it's called Deciduous O1 Island, there's a set of, for example, statuary. There's 5 unique ones. You can place those all together, or separate, or whatever, but they all fit within the biome. And when you're in that biome, on that island, you can go, okay, go to the guy with the big giant hand coming out of the rocks. Let me think of those things. Visual markers for getting into the world so that we're finding ways to.
Again, we don't just need visual markers that do absolutely nothing but look different. We need reasons for players to
Yeah,
go
but I'm
out.
not answering that part.
I am, because we need, if you just put, the only thing that's in the world are these plots, and everything else is just like empty wasteland of just props. There's no reason for anybody to go anywhere except for the plots. So we need not just, oh, let's scatter some random stuff around so that it's unique and looks different. It's like, we need to have other things in the world that
I think that should work.
go around and explore and find and do. So there's going to be more than just art involved.
I'm not solving that.
I am, because there's more than just art that's involved in that. When you say, oh, just add 5.
No, we're talking about 2 different things.
No, we're not. When you say, let's just add 5, you know, hero pieces. Let's not just add 5 hero pieces. Let's add 5 hero pieces that are part of a design that has gameplay.
Sure.
So that way, we're not just putting a random object in the world that does nothing. We're putting a design, purposeful gameplay object in the world like players will need to interact with for some useful examples. So, like, say we had
Do the same thing here.
and the golden apple tree provides golden apples. And the
So
golden
it's a
apples
vec2f.
make into golden apple pies. And golden apple pies give you a buff to your treasure finding. And then when you walk into the depths with treasure finding buff on, you find extra resources that you can't see unless you have an apple pie recipe.
Or some of these things are part of a lore gathering type of thing.
I say 0.
Some of the games do exploration type of stuff like that.
No, we're not making that game. We're making a PvP game.
Why?
So you're
There's
saying
3 rounds
So-
of trying to
something just
kill the
randomly
fuck out of way that you get the really good
Okay.
material is
Let's see
use the
here.
golden apple tree to get the golden apples, take the golden apples to a cracker to have them make the golden apple pie, to eat the golden apple pie, to go into the depths.
That should do the same thing for this. And then basically what I want to do here is I would do JSON converter
Windlands or some other game that's not 3 realms to kill
and
each other.
then type of back to F JSON converter.
There's a bunch of players who like raids too. Should we put
And
those in the game?
I made a thing. I made a
Then-
turtle or a ferret inside of a log that I'd like to place somewhere in the game. So some random player goes, hey, there's a ferret in the log.
Choo-choo-choo.
That's the kind of fun stuff.
I think, do you think maybe we learned about the small moments a little early? We're not doing the big pieces?
Oh, of course. I'm just saying it was one of the things we made a long time ago. Made a ferret thing.
Here we are. That's going to be the range 2F JSON converter. Alright, let's see if that works.
Where? I'm just saying that if I make a functional thing that's just for me.
You were talking about building an explorer achievement system.
Well, I was I'm not saying you did. I was just.
Well, then why are you bringing it up? When I'm saying I want things that go into the game to have relevance, and you're like, no, we should just make cool art games. And then you're like, we should build achievement systems for explorer archetype players. I'm like, well, no, our game's built for explorer archetype players, and that's not the same thing.
I
Okay.
did not say that
And-
achievement system. I brought it up as an example, trying to find out what you were talking about for things that you would find in the world.
Here we go.
You said achievement system. I said the type of system
Do.
that are linked to like, oh, I found a thing. and it's
Okay.
find 7
Let's see if that works. But first, also, I want to add some better exception handling in the serialization section of status report. So
I didn't say achievement.
this has it, and when we send send report. So I'm going to just do this, just so I can catch, just in case it fails,
You said you wanted players doing that and paying us money for it.
it doesn't crash the server.
I did. But I don't know what the system is.
All right.
Where you can find other random stuff. Like, hold on, we're typing. You said, well, it has to happen.
And typing's the problem.
Because I think the relevance is that in our VR game, where the point is realm versus realm, where players are trying to kill each other, to give them things that motivate them and assist them in doing that. Not being +1, I got an achievement, don't I feel good because I'm an explorer player in a PvP world.
blah 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 blah. New line in constant.
Go play Windlands. Right, I got it.
What's all the spam at the start?
We'll need to
Script helpers.
Yeah, that's like in pretty much anything that's doing scripting right now. I need to poke around and see. Grab that.
All right.
But it's not a problem.
Yeah, so I'm hoping this works. I basically just wrote a serializer for Vec2F and Range2F rather than having the other version for it. So,
Yeah.
oh, well, JSON serializer.
So.
So,
Vec2F because it's got like circular properties.
yeah. So, yeah. That's the problem. It's got circular properties, which is why we made Vec2F.cs with a lowercase f. And that serializes properly. So this started.
Yeah, so that was obnoxious. So for Mongo, I just registered a serializer for Vec2F that just spits out X, Y, and Z. Or X and Y.
Yeah, we can't like globally register serializers for JSON.NET, I don't think. Let me look.
Use a grown-up serializer then, John.
It's like the serializer. Newtonsoft. Global JSON converter. Registering a custom JSON converter globally. Yes, it is possible.
Yay.
Okay.
How global?
What?
How global?
I don't know. Probably for the whole
JD's
thing.
about 2 steps away from yak shaving.
The problem with yak shaving is you don't realize you're into it until you're actually into it.
JSON convert default settings equals new JSON serializer settings. Converters equals new list of converters. Blah 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 blah.
Right, it also has three different materials. Yeah, if you just have the one, take it down to one.
If I'm using Web API, I can set up a converter globally by doing global configuration settings.
So if we wanted to put like 6 inside that,
Okay.
so let's say, but now
Alright,
if I
well,
John,
that is, let me just make sure that that actually works. The problem with testing the present server locally is that it doesn't actually connect to things because it's like super permissiony. So that you can make sure it runs, and that's basically all I got there.
That's not the question.
But let me also do this global JSON converter setting thing real quick.
Imagine like I need a skull, the horns, and
Alright, well, we'll do that later. Alright. See if this works.
the question is if you're doing it from scratch, I'm trying to baseline how long it takes. Scratch, Holy Dragon stuff. It just said skull, backbone, rib cage. Finished asset minus I spend it for the time that you will use it. Oh, so so it's kind of, yeah. Okay.
Tim, do you want to do a quick code review on this? I can submit it.
Want to?
I can review board link you it.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll be right in a second.
There's a bunch of rocks that are in the world on one of them, and they're just going to set up as a big spike around the area or something and use it in a very different way. That's like an egg. Now, if it's something you did like ASAP,
I need to publish this.
yeah, it's like
Tim Mills, published.
It's not yet public.
It's published.
You want to publish it for you?
well,
I was publishing it.
I don't know where this goes, which is like this is going to be the lumber, this is going to be the model tools. Yeah, that's
When earlier?
so
Probably Tyler and Ben.
get all the materials in for the terrain.
All right, so the build server is now up. So while Tim is reviewing that code before I submit the fix to the present server, I can.
Getting mod set up.
I should be able to get build server status now.
Yeah, like we used to have like a wooden wall set and a steel
It's
wall
not
set.
the wooden wall, it's just like have to look something with the spread.
Can we make that big?
Visual Studio, why are you freezing on me?
Would that going to have to be hard or would
It'd kind of be like from scratch.
So what's up, everybody?
Well,
because like
I mean, we actually have. So let me think about it. So
I gotta
sorry, what
I get to wait here and hang out while
that thing that you
Visual Studio decides
remember? That was
that it wants to respond.
Yeah,
first thing you played.
It's busy reloading a bunch of projects.
yeah.
It was, and we had like made some palisade, which was actually done. I believe it was a palisade wall piece that had with. I think that was actually done pretty well.
Okay.
Now it's building stuff.
We have scaffolding stuff. It would kind of depend on what we needed. Are you talking like
Start a small war in Discord.
Yeah, just a little bit.
like
In our Discord? What's going on?
To signify it, but not like you're not building a full fort. This one has a totally defensive position.
Well, like we can't do that because our NPCs are stupid, right? So like you can put a little bit of that propping around, but we can't really put a full. Like,
Which, by the way, if you have not been to our Discord, you should join our Discord. There's a link.
So maybe I could do that for a bunch.
You just have to remember there's like lotting import materials. It's not.
Go to discord.gg/CamelOnChained to join.
That's what people would say. Oh, it's another one. Yeah, that one. So yeah, we could probably put something together pretty quickly.
Oh yes, the fun stick debate that gets heated every time somebody brings it up. No, we're not doing stick.
Well, we should come up with like a few props, and we can base them off of that.
Why did these disappear?
You know you want to.
What? Yeah, like this bucket of stuff that goes around the edge of the pod.
Then you would have to come to me and do it.
Yeah, that thing we've got on the floor in here. That's that the rim is one piece of it.
Oh great, the stick debate has led into Twitch chat.
Well, I can't get this whole thing to be honest.
So if we presume we start each corner off with the 3 realm borders, that's a very clear indicator that this is your starting point.
Well, so there's
And those assets
So-
exist.
Come on, almost built, and then I have to wait for it to start up. Except that there's builders,
each side has
but it's really not a real builder.
a dedicated spawn.
I just need to
They
build it
always
again.
spawn and can't be captured, right?
No, why are you failing?
Buttons on the map, they can always
Matchmaker status component. I don't even know what that is.
Then they have a starting capture point where they start owning this and they start the game here. So that they don't have to run from here all the way out to here.
Okay,
So they
so
start here.
so are these called backup spawn points then? This one is technically. I mean, granted, they're all spawn points, I guess.
Yeah, they're
But what do we call them? In order to write down so I can say what the model is. Your backup
the
spawn
design
point. Yeah, figure out what you called them so that if something exists already, I'm using the same term.
I don't know what you're complaining about right now. Let's check out master, get latest. Rebase against master.
I don't think I remember you very specifically calling
Ha 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 ha. Those puns. Thanks, Vane. By the way, did y'all see the while I'm waiting on things to reload and compile? You see the little beta widget on the website? Check it out. Check it out. Oh yeah. Doing a little hammer time. We'll zoom in on the little guys.
So originally, back when you first made the map, you called this docks because there was docks
Right.
at the edges of the map where you could
And then we
spawn.
raised it really high.
Yeah, now they're not docks anymore. So all I said was there are safe spawn points for each team at the edge of the map.
We'll call them safe spawn.
Yeah.
Is the website getting changed on beta 1? Nope. We do not have plans for like a website overhaul before beta 1.
We've got existing mods of like the Autumn Forest. We've got existing mods of like the Super Zone. We've got existing mods of like a grassy area.
We may update some things to say that we're in beta.
All of those I would love to relook at and just kind of
What dwarf?
give myself a task of go look and see what the state of these are.
There's no dwarf.
To the best of my knowledge, they're in a fairly good state for just the assets looking cool. However, I think when I brought that up to you, you also said you don't
Say you got a Leetrapan on the left, middle, general Arthurian, human dude probably, and plate armor. On the right, you got a little Jotnar, frost giant.
was like have the center be this dark rock jutting out and have like some kind of dead, dirt and grass and stuff around it. And then we get to and then do this whole ramp here, this inside wall, do this with like spiky rocks that are basically framing this. And then as we go this way, we go to something more lush. That way we have a real good contrast between I'm in the center and I'm on the outside. I didn't know if we wanted to make these very distinctly different or if we just wanted
Yeah, it's a long crafting process. You know, they're busy crafting for a few months there. We almost built.
No, this is an island everybody's on, and this one's got more trees, and this one's got more rocks, and this one's got more rocks.
So what I said was like these three corners should look different so that you aren't confused as to where you are on the map. But what I don't want them to be is like one is a deciduous forest and one is a pine forest because that's weird because they're like basically right next to each other.
We're assuming that's a real world.
Yeah, so I mean it's just weird, right? So like if you were making a giant island, it's like, oh, there's mountains.
That's feature creep, Zubay.
There's like, okay, the lower elevation you have more deciduous forest, and the mountains you have more pine forest, and like that kind of makes a lot of sense.
That's how delays
Right
happen.
here, this area right here, one of them is.
So we should use kind of the green stuff for the contrast and just
Alright.
make sure that they're all different.
See that belt now? I think somebody smit something that was broken and then fixed it.
Yeah, like the difficulty of doing like one is voiced and one is voiced has a lot of line of sight and collision and gameplay blocking objects, and the other one doesn't. So you can't really do that either. But you can make it
Well, you don't have to code to make video games.
taller.
You can do art, or you can do design or storytelling, or
You can have different
you
graphics,
can
flowers, and like different patterns.
use some game engines that don't require you to write code if you want to make simpler games.
Yeah. So like it can be fairly simple. It doesn't have to be like everything is completely different. This is like on a different planet or something. It's like this is all one island. But this part of it is a little different. This
What
part
we could do is do like an area that's like mostly grass, some boulders, a few trees. Another area that's got more trees but nothing line of sight for
I mean, I guess voice actors contribute, but I wouldn't call them developers. Like artists, I can call developers because they're making stuff for the game,
yeah, but what I mean
and
is
programmers,
the
and
density of
even story people, and they're making stuff for the game.
the same across.
Voice actors, are they really making things for the game, or are they just?
dense and the other one is super open. Like that's going to give an advantage.
I don't know. Maybe they are. Sound people too, because they make sounds, and the sound people decide. They do the work for the voice people, other than the speaking, right?
And the bike or the Arthurian was.
It's a big.
How many architects do we have at CC? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Because those all work. It's like this is where my backup spawn is. And people are going to start identifying those.
Yeah, but that's fun. I think. So like.
Whoa. Resolver for the type IP address has not been registered with GraphQL.
I thought I would put them there, and if we want to replace them with something else later, like
Well then.
it's fine. But they need a place where if they lose all of their other stuff on the map, they can still spawn. And it's
Resolver for the
fairly
type
close to
IP address,
the
resolver for the
so,
type IP address. I should make resolver for the type IP address.
Like they'll be spawning like right here.
So which
IP address.
I'm not going to
Can't do that.
like, for the Arthurian subset of that castle set we did,
Yeah.
castle walls we put things like, he's here, right? So this is going to open, but it makes like
What has an IP address? Is it the present server?
Well, like, if you want to go about all those assets, like,
No, but I'm saying track from your kind of theme it out a little bit as like a little defensive area. It doesn't need to be
yeah, we could drop this out more. I think it's, if it's not too. The important part, I think, is the place where you're actually going to be playing most of the game.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of putting them
Web API status.
inclination right off the bat is like,
But
hey,
we already had
grassy field,
resolvers for
all
them.
around the outside is some rocks and trees growing as a ring behind, but behind where the behind.
Oh, proxy status is new. Yep. So Mark added new stuff to the Web API status. Except that this doesn't work because I don't have a resolver for it. So I have to create one. And then great, getting new stuff.
And so at this point, it's going to start on by the fact
Resolve as. To resolve this as a string.
They own it by default.
And
they already
then
make points for it,
resolver
and they spawn here so they can immediately
equals
go to the
type
next
of
either the left side or the right side.
proxy status
Walk up or climb up
IP
this so
address
you
resolver,
have to choose either go this way or go this way.
which is a really long name.
And so then these points don't start out.
Field resolver.
You have to go there. So theoretically, all the players who spawn here, all 100 of them or however many, some of them have to go this way and some of them have to go this way because they want both of these.
So basically, the default for lots of players.
Yeah, so this is kind of, these are kind of
Proxy
the
status.
primary objectives, right? Everyone gets one of them.
Context.source.
Probably has a lot of
IP
bugs
address.
stuff here. Like it's very hard to capture. It's So whatever the objective thing is, because there's going to be a like go stand here, right? That needs to be in the middle of the room, and I probably would like mark that up as being like it's important somehow. Like it depends on what props and assets we have, but if we have like if we have like the palisades or the little what would you say, barricades, small barricades that we have.
Ruin shit?
No,
The wood barricades.
The wood barricades that we had. That is
So we need to make things in here that it's kind of creates more of a defensible position. Like things you can duck on.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause, like, you're defending
Many people
and
contribute.
you're gonna capture this one, and then they're gonna
MJ and
press
Ben
back
are
up.
the game designers.
You want it to be defendable. The difficulty is
Yeah, I'm
that all
doing the
the
grouping
mechanics-
systems
I would love to do
as
this,
well as the UI as far as designing that
those
stuff.
NPCs are dumb and can't navigate walls. So we need to make like there be like
Okay,
line of
so
sight
this
blockers
should
and things
work
you can hide
now.
behind, and maybe we'll add some like a little bit of an elevation advantage in here and stuff, so you can shoot down at people who are coming up to you.
And you're going to do that work.
Yeah, because I haven't done the block out for this specific one. So, but yeah, it needs to be as defensible as we can reasonably make it without just putting up the walls because then people can be over walls. And so then, yeah, you have to go either way. And so theoretically, it won't be all the players go in one direction because then they'll only get one of these points. That would be bad. So you have as many points as possible because each point is worth.
So that we kind of want to make some kind of
On build.
well, he was talking about it being defensible and possibly like a castle or something.
Shrine?
And granted, we can do that with rocks and stuff, but we can do it with a lot of shrine-themed assets. Because
Shrine-based
he had said,
different
like, I'd love this
works.
to be a castle. So if it was like a little keep or something, then you obviously can create walls and something like that. But NPCs can't do walls. So what Ben and I are talking about is kind of each place needs to ideally be visually different, so you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we only have limited time to do stuff and a limited number of assets, so I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do.
Just write down what, the limitations are, the can't haves, and, I can throw out a bunch of ideas.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're gonna probably get pulled into this at some point. But I think what I'd like to do is have Ben set these up from his perspective, like design terrain changes. And we might be able to do like, okay, Michelle, we're thinking of like a big dragon skeleton thematic thing for this. Sketch something.
See how our servers are doing.
Make the dragon
On
skeleton
our main status page,
pieces, that's why I brought that up.
on the live one at least.
Like, oh, that was cool. We'll
Yeah, so I'm submitting them, I just need to
very
know
slow
what
right
is,
now.
like, your gameplay elements needed, what is needed to assist your gameplay, and what are the things that you don't want, whether it's like walls or you say whatever the restrictions are. That's what restrictions, just the restrictions.
You can see that I have my server up right here. It's recording itself.
okay, this is how I want this.
My computer CSAGV JV.
Yeah, so you kind of understand this one, right?
Yeah.
So some of the players will go this way, some of them will go this way. And then they will immediately be able to capture these ones because the enemies are too far away to catch there before they are.
And then they'll take it to the-
Alright, now this is up.
This
that one.
So here we go.
These are
Oh no.
These are like secondary objectives, right? So they're not worth as many points, they don't need as much defensibility as this other one. And you can kind of figure out how we're going to do.
Web server's
So
not
there
up.
are two, each team has two that they can go to directly, right? So these two, I think, for each one, these, if we need to share assets, right? Like,
They might make the most sense to thematic.
yeah.
What do you want to know about it?
Yeah,
EP
so
Davos?
if we're, theming the environment, like the color of the tree leaves, or the color of the flowers, or like one of them is more dirt and the other one is more grass, whatever, like that will already tell you where you are on the map, so you won't be as confused. I would still like for these each to have like some unique assets, so you know specifically which one is which. But even so, like, if this one and this one are just like little palisades and barricades, rocks and stuff, like maybe we could put one like special object like a statue
My linting is complaining
tree or something.
because I had some properties that were not used.
But otherwise, if we need to share things, these are the
Well, the last game that Ben, well, I think the last game he worked on, I'm pretty sure before he came here, was SWTOR. I think. So Ben created Hutball, pretty sure.
You're in the red flower section and you're at the big tree. And over there you have the big rock.
So that's, and then these ones are like literally in the middle. Right?
Hey Nate,
So once we go this far,
how long do we go on coding this stuff? Well,
if they're going
do you mean the stream or just in general?
like the middle of between these two.
AP Davos, most things will just be within your warband.
So these guys, right, the Arthurian.
So now you've got the next
We'll
one.
capture this one, and these
Alright,
guys.
so
will capture
status
this one.
dashboard is up.
And so if they just
Here we go.
continuing, they will meet about here.
You're not
right?
seeing anything about the build
Or
server.
some of them can go up here and fight over this
See
one.
here, there we go. We have build server
No, this
status
is
now.
still just
It says server CSC, blah 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 blah. So now I can make a widget that uses the build server, which I'm just gonna, you know, just do the same copy paste stuff that, because it's almost the same here. It's a new file, build server status .tsx. We'll change this to build server status.
My thinking was like this area would be like
Type is build server.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or
Yeah.
and you can just tell me like, oh, I need some trees and rocks and walkers here, here, and here.
Yeah, that's, and so then these ones are just neutral. So I think these ones can be unique, where it's like this is one
Now
side
let's see
of the
what's
map,
got
this is one
here.
side of the map, this is one side
So
of the map.
ready, good, okay. That looks good.
Because they're just sort of off to the side, and you can see it from here, so you kind of
Then in
where
here,
it is. Everything you can see, right? There's the kind of important thing from, oh, I'm here. I can see this one, 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 and I can see that one over there, and that one over there.
build server, build server. So that doesn't exist yet. Pull it in.
And or the other thing we're going to do, depending on what we're going to do, is run all
Right,
of
and this is going to
them,
complain
right? So if we're
because I
doing
need to actually pull down
I'm going to run from my
the
start
GraphQL
down
schema for
here,
this.
and go to here as quickly as possible to get the first one, or we could delay it a little bit so we don't do it right away. But so they'll go into here. So this can be pretty much anything. Like it depends on how much work well, weeks to weeks to weeks. We can work all of this out. Just leave this little tooth up here, and then fill this in with terrain, and then just have this little center thing in the middle and the flag.
Oh no, I think in a few days we can get materials better.
Oh, hey Nate.
Oh, we like it a lot.
No, I don't do this every day. I mean, our studio does stream almost every day, but we do different things. Usually, the individual streams, either programmer or art, are usually like 3 to 4 hours.
So if we keep it,
And we have schedule. We keep a schedule up that we release to the backers of our game
just make it a counterpoint. Just
every week.
But we would then have to turn off NPCs because they'll just go jumping off into the water. So we could do that, or if we're doing the whole counterpoint.
Oh, Davos is caustic. Cool. Hey, a warband is a single group. Yeah, it's like a single party.
So like if that's the point, right? That first thing there is capture the flag, but you wouldn't be like, oh, I really like it if a model changed in the middle, if the dragon tube changed color.
All right, Slane, you're asking, can I talk about how I got into the gaming industry? Sure. And I intended to always go into the gaming industry when I went to college for it. You know, after my time in the Army, I went to Full Sail for game dev. I got a job not in game dev first, doing attractions, gamey stuff for doing Disney stuff. And then getting in here was basically Dave, one of the other programmers here, posted on the on our college Facebook page, because we went to the same college, the alumni page, that they were looking for a job, and just applied to get in here. So it really was, you know, just learning all the stuff I learned when I went to college at Full Sail helped getting into the industry here, and you know, going to the interview and no, I'm originally from New York.
Yeah, I'd like to do some.
Alright, so this is built.
I finally looked at my messages, and there were a bunch of people that had wished me happy birthday.
So I need to push this. When it's done building.
Yeah, I'll probably.
One sec. So I'm just having some issues getting into the server. Let's see if I can get in real quick. So, well, party is not the same as a battle group. Like a warband would be the same as a party. The battle group is the closest thing similar to a raid, yeah. Or yeah, I see how you split that up, right? But I mean, battle group's not technically a raid group. Battle group's just a group of warbands. And then you have, you know, order as guild. Order is what we call a guild, and on that is the campaign thing, yeah. But you can read about the group stuff on our website. Let's see here. On our website, while all this stuff is building. What happened to trying to get in here? We have the Beta 1 doc. So if you see right here, when you go to the website, Beta 1 doc, or I'll do the link here. On the side, if you hover over, you'll see social systems down here. And you click that, and it'll scroll the page to it, and you can read through the general group types and stuff for the social systems for the game. see. Let's see. WLAs. How many years of experience do I have in programming? Like 12. Professionally. For web dev, I've been doing for 15, but not getting paid for it for all 15. But doing this stuff, C++, C#, and all that, about 7 now, I think.
Each guy
Yeah.
has 7 unique class skills and 7 shared skills. That include things like sprint and shoot C.
And do we have the beta date? Yep. You guys already answered that. The 4th of July. And June 12th is our feature lock. So that's like our internal date when we have to have all of our features done. So we have a couple weeks of bug fixing and everything before we release the beta. Alright, so I'm trying to get starting server here and testing a. While this is doing its stuff, I'm also helping some other people debug some stuff that they're having issues with on the other server. So I need to copy these files over.
If that's all we cared about, and like we're not going to care about building skills for a long time, we could make things happen real fast. Because like not having to worry about combinations means things are really straightforward.
So copy over my web tools server.
Yeah.
That was the whole part of the whole point.
Yeah, I'm getting a 404. That's weird. Why am I getting a 404?
I think that's it might be what hey, am I getting
It's probably because Presence is broken.
Yeah, that was my understanding. I'm just a bit unsure about timing because
Yeah, Presence server's not even running.
Do this by X day or whatever. And so when we started talking about like, oh, actually, it takes a week for every animation, and we want to do animations, like it's going to be like 9 weeks. Like, well, now we need to really start thinking about it. Do we want to spend 9 weeks on?
Okay. So that's copied over. Strip that web tools again. Alright, so there's that. And so people can't get in the game because of the other thing I fixed, which, yeah, so I have to fix that real quick. But now that that other server is up, let's open this back up again, make sure it's up. When that's up, I can get the GraphQL stuff. Oh, Slane, you're asking what my MOS was? I was 38 Bravo, which is Civil Affairs. And do I feel a bit under pressure getting all this stuff done now that there's time ticking towards beta? Yes, very much so. Alright, so that started. I can get the running that script. We'll download the schema from the GraphQL from here. which that seems to work. Okay, I can close that guy. So I'm going to commit this stuff so I can switch gears again to the other one with my fix. What did I even name it? First, actually, pull from master, then rebase. Yeah, that's half the fun of the streams, right? Seeing what leaked info you can hear other people talk about. Alright, so I was doing this here. Tim did not like that I had an empty catch. So I'm just going to write out message. No, don't freeze on me, Visual Studio. So I can't jump into the game right now because the present server is down, which is the thing I just fixed a few minutes ago on the stream. Well, maybe like 20-30 minutes ago. Tim reviewed it. I'm gonna submit it. I was gonna make this one change and then test it and then submit it. And then it's got to go through Jenkins to build, which is like 10-15 minutes, so nobody can get in the game for like the next probably 20 minutes or so. Yeah, if I'm still on. So that builds, make sure it runs.
Is there any way that we can make it so that environment assets are searchable in some way? Because right now, model is like a ton of stuff that has nothing to do with environment, and I don't know how to filter that out so I can be like, what prompts are there that I can use for this?
There's a bunch of red text here. That's not my fault. It still works with it.
I thought it might save time if I found a thing that was like, hey, this giant hen would be cool.
There's only a few things that are kind of applicable in that category you're talking about. I mean, you can type in statue, you'll find all the statues. There's a giant hen. I don't know that the giant
Alright, it works.
dragon skeleton
It's up.
is
Okay, now I can submit this. Update my commit. I didn't add.
Well, I don't know what old rocks versus new rocks
I know,
are
I know.
because there's just rocks. other problem when you're making turn lanes. It's like
I said, that's why I'm saying do the blocks. Because that's, I would have said.
All right, the code is live.
If it was easy.
Check out my status dashboard code again. Rebase it against what's on master. Let's see if it works. I can close present server, reopen this guy, reload that. So this should have the types for this now. It's got build server there now. Yeah, I find rebasing very useful. It's like instead of merging your code and having two branches and kind of having commits all intermixed with other people, you just basically take all the commits that you've made, regardless of wherever, and it just kind of puts it at the end of what you're rebasing it off of. So the conflict resolution is a little bit different. You still have to resolve it because if the diffs are different by too much. But essentially, it's just like kind of a shift of, you know, your stuff just from being like here in the timeline to being over here in the timeline now. Super useful. And that failed. Do what you like. Build server status, blah blah blah. It's not assignable to type or dealing props if data are incompatible.
I slept for a second.
Build server status. Oh, right, because that. Build server status detail. Yep, you're basically just, you know, cut and pasting the your commits to the on top of head or wherever you did it. Yep. Okay, we're back up. Except we have probably errors again. Localhost GraphQL connection refused. Yeah, because it's not on there. So let me change that real quick. I don't need to be localhost because I actually pushed everything to the other server.
Everyone in the room said that. I mean, not exactly that, but.
I have a process. You don't want. I know you. No, I wasn't here.
Bam. There we go. we have a build server status now. It says ready. It was updated a few seconds ago. So this one says timestamp 6 minutes ago. I don't know how that works. It's out of date. We have an error. No other info. Patch server is looking good. We got all the IDs, got all that stuff. It's looking great. Let's look real quick at my tasking for this. Let's see if anyone else has their stuff ready for being set up. Get some awesome Jira action. So build server self-reporting. This one's actually done. View accepted. Done. Great. So that's good. So the last thing on the plate is let's go see if there's anything else I need to do. Probably want to be able to have some better
But when your commit exceeds negative 3,000 lines, you're allowed to quote Revelation. That's it.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot I can really do with that, so I'm just going to commit all this stuff. Well, I got to put it up for review, but I can put it live because it's an internal tool, so other people can take a look and give comments. And that's pretty simple. I will just paste it here because I'm hosting it off of our shared server. So front end disk. So then here, which you can't really see my address bar, so it doesn't really help much. But I'm refreshing it, and this is on the internal address, which is really, really slow for some reason. Super slow. So now I want to look at why IIS is so slow. I don't really want to look at that now. And it's vacuum time. Alright, the vacuum boss is gone. Okay. Looks like Hatchery Web API is not having a good time. It's no longer reporting. The status dashboard is having some use. One or more errors have occurred. Failed to gen graph type service status attachments. People didn't test their code. Yeah, so let's see if this works. Things might just be dead for a little bit until I fix it again.
Probably share some similar characteristics.
Alright, so we have errors, and our API server is dead. Because the IP address thing, which I fixed already, which is currently being built on Jenkins. Did I fix it on? No, I didn't fix it for the API server. So I gotta fix the IP address and what else? What else? Have to get resolve type for IP address again. Failed to gen graph type service and reserve for IP address. Yeah, so I just need to push that IP address fix. Which I did right here. Yep, so I just need to push this fix up on master. Check out master. Alright, so reload that, and I'll just paste in my code that I already had written. Okay, so that's fixed. Hello, Mr. Square Peg. Except Jenkins is doing its build. Which seems really slow right now. If you're curious, you can check out our Jenkinsing. Which it started 18 minutes ago and it estimates 18.5 minutes left, which is really slow. What?
CC build's been running slow.
It's super slow. Like IIS on it is like dragging ass.
Yeah.
Everything. And this builds right now, like
Yeah, I tried pulling up web
taking
tools
30
earlier.
minutes for a build?
Yeah. Thought it might be the hard drive getting full again, but I
Huh.
freed up like 20 gigs earlier.
Yeah.
So
I mean, do we have space on the hard drive here?
it doesn't have much.
Because the web API is broken right now because something got submitted that broke it, so I just submitted a fix.
Yeah, I've got a new hard drive so that we can move Jenkins off onto a separate hard drive because that's what takes up most of the space.
Mm-hmm.
But when I left earlier, she had like 50 gigs free.
I wonder, let's just see what, it's super slow to even RDP into it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, like there's nothing going
There's
on.
nothing, it's not doing anything.
Check the disk usage, like.
Yeah.
I mean, just like
Nothing.
grab like see how much free space is
Yeah,
on the
how much
C drive.
free space we got? 30 gigs.
30 gigs, like she's bitching about it, but
Yeah, but that's fine.
yeah. So
I don't know. Why is it slow? We need a DevOps guy, by the way. Whoever's watching on chat, you can help us figure out why the server's slow. We could try turning it off and on again, except I don't know the consequences of that right now. That is a question I'd have to ask Tim.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Tim says, eh. I mean, stuff's broken right now, so it shouldn't affect anything too much. Its upload right now is being really slow, is what's taking the longest time. Remember, it's just internet is being... It's taking 12 minutes to upload. It took 16 minutes the last one. The one before that was 4.5. 16. Well, this isn't actually a Windows server. I'm pretty sure this is just like a normal Windows. Let me see. It's just Windows 8.1 Pro. And it's like server CPU. This is an actual machine in our office that we use as our a server for a Windows server internally. Hey Tim, should I just try rebooting it? See what happens?
It shouldn't be essential for any of the running servers.
Yeah, well, the running servers don't work anyways right now. Well,
it'll
Hatchery's broken, so.
TCP relay in the office. But that shouldn't matter.
But it'll come back up as soon as it starts back up, it'll start up.
I would say before you reboot the whole thing, kill the commander stack.
Just this guy.
Yeah. Back up and see.
Let's see if things are even any faster with IS is still super slow. Wait until this build finishes. So sorry if you were wanted me to log in. It seems to be taking longer because there's other issues. Yeah, I should probably get going too. See you later, Zue. Enjoy Black Panther. I should go see that tonight. It's an 8 o'clock show at the Alamo. Let's see if there's seats. Just front row seats. $9.50. Second row. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to hop off here and continue to figure out what's going on with this stuff. And thanks for hanging out. I think we'll have a stream tomorrow morning, I think morning with Max, and then after that, later in the afternoon, will be the end of the week wrap up. We can ask lots of questions about the game. See ya.